So these are the instructions for how to make a double-stranded bracelet, which is much stronger than a single strand, and you can do a better knot that way. So we begin by determining your bracelet's size. So there's two ways you can do it. You can take a tape measure and wrap it around your wrist. If you don't have that, you can take a string. You could even use the big string. Find the size that you want the bracelet to be. And when you know what that is, for me, it's 16 centimeters. And I like to use centimeters because they're smaller than inches, so they're more accurate, easier to work with. So then take that bead string and say I wrapped it around my wrist here. Oh, excuse me. Wrapped it around my wrist. And just an estimate is fine. This is my estimate here. So, you see that's about 16 centimeters. If you have a bead board like this, it gives you the centimeters, but otherwise you can use a ruler. And then I know, as it says in the instructions, you want to, step 1, cut your string size twice as long as your desired bracelet length, with at least 6 inches for slack. So you want to have about 3 inches of slack over here. Hold the string at 16 and then just flip it down. And again, don't worry about accuracy and don't worry about not wasting bead string. Bead string is easy to come by and you're better off having too much than too little. So you see that's 16 centimeters. I've got more slack than I probably need, but that's fine. So then that's step number 2, folding the string in half and now tying a knot at the bottom, the 2 string end side. So this knot is going to prevent the beads from slipping off of the string as you add beads. Now it's nice to do, if you know how to do a knot, you can easily untie. That's great. Otherwise, just do a simple double knot. Knot it twice because you don't want to lose your beads. Oops, here, I'll do it again. I usually use the removable knot, but this will do just fine. There. So we won't lose our beads. So the next thing we do is step number 3. Hold string, and you're going to slide the V-shaped needle through the looped string end. Here's the V-shaped wire needle. The knot should be at the opposite end of the string, and the double wires of the needle should face upward. And once the string is knotted and the needle is in place, you're ready to add your beads. Step number 4, you will be adding beads to the 2-prong side of the needle. So run your fingers along the wires of the needle until they're aligned, and together you have a straight line. Now step number 5 is to add your beads. Now, I have a bead board, which makes it easy for me to keep my beads in place. But if you have round beads and you just put them on the table, they'll roll around. So you can use a plate, a simple plate to hold your beads, or a bowl as you're stringing them. If you do use a ruler to measure your string length, it can be helpful to have it lined up against some kind of edge like this, so it'll hold the beads in place. So stringing your beads, And as you can see, as I string them throughout, I'm kind of making sure that tip of the needle stays straight and keeping the wires together as best I can. But you can see on some of these, even if the wires aren't behaving, just once you get some leverage on the bead hole, you can kind of force the second wire into place. Like you see here, it's not entirely together. Let me just show you with something like this. Once I get, you see, once I get close to the hole, like that, the needle behaves the way you want it to, with those two ends staying together. You need the two open ends, you'll see, so you can remove the needle at the end of your process. So here is the bracelet, and we are now at step number 6, where you want to remove the needle. But first, slide your finger, I like to use my pinky finger, through this looped end that's threaded through the needle. And you'll see that the beads slide down to the knotted end of the string. If they don't slide on their own, just gently slide them down to make room for your finger at this looped end. And this finger will anchor the beads once you remove that needle. And I did that rather quickly, but you see, that's the needle. Ooh, it can be hard to get them to behave. Threaded, and then you just gently pull it out. Now at step number 7, slide the beads to where your finger anchors the string, and then carefully remove your finger from the looped end and hold the little loop. And then you're ready to cut your knot off. That's more of a loop than I really need. I just wanted to illustrate. Now this is a little less string than I usually like to have, but this will work fine. Second part of step 8, bend the string into a circle so you can insert, one of the string ends from this knot end into the end with the loop. So you see how you just put one of the one of the strings through the loop end. And number 9, hold the two strings together from what used to be the knot end. And then you just want to slide the beads, redistribute the beads. But you don't want to do it tightly. You don't want stretch here, because you don't want to stretch the string right now, because what you're going to do is, moving on to step number 10, once the beads are distributed the way they should be in the finished bracelet, you're going to tie these two strings together in a simple knot. It is helpful before you do that to make sure you're getting the proper tension and it's not too loose, is before you tie that first knot, pull downward gently 3 times. And then release before tying the knot. And that helps ensure that it's not too tight. So you tie a simple knot and just 3 times gently pull that string. And then you flip the bracelet over. Again, this is the last step, step 10. And tie a double knot. Again, 1, 2, 3, to make sure your knot is tight, not super tight pulls, but gently. 1, 2, 3. Then you can, I like to give it about, maybe this is, maybe 2 millimeters at the end. I would estimate. You want to give it enough so it's not in danger of unraveling, but not so much that you can't hide it under a bead. And you see, when you stretch the string out gently, you can hide that knot under one of your strings. And so let me just show you how that works out for me. And